And welcome to Friday Apocryphal Podcast, your one-stop shop for everything Friday Apocryphal and podcast. And boy, do we have a show for you today. Today we are covering the Gospel of Truth, chapters 25 through 34.
And
Easy clap.
Easy. I have Lost Scriptures, books that did not make it into the New Testament by Bart D. Ehrman.
And that goes along with his book, Lost Christianities, which is a really good read, I'd say. I have the Nag Hammadi Scriptures, the revised and updated translation of sacred Gnostic texts, edited by Marvin Mayer. And the Gospel of Truth section looks like it is done by, well, I'm guessing, I don't know if the translation is done by them too. Oh, so yeah, the introduction is by Einar Thomason, and it's translated by Marvin Mayer. So that's good.
Cool.
Good to know.
Yes, and the Gospel of Truth in here is translated by Harold W. Attridge.
I think that's the translation you can find online, the Attridge one. And I don't think that one includes like chapters and verses and sections either, which makes sense. But
which is why this is the way that it is.
Right, at least in Ehrman's. So the one in the Nag Hammadi Scriptures one does have sections at least, and it does categorize them into chapters, or I think this is supposed to be columns. This is columns, I think. But either way, so this one is actually separated in a certain way, and I actually went through that book and like marked all the points of separation down, both in sections and chapters. So
this chapter starts in the middle of a sentence.
Right.
So I'm going to start at the beginning of the sentence that was in the previous chapter.
Right. But remember, since these are, I think these are supposed to be columns, right? So so because of that, like you're going to see them starting in the middle of sentences. But I'll make sure you guys know that a section starts or ends, or at least I'll try. I know last time I forgot once, maybe twice.
Oh yeah, maybe like a bunch.
No.
A bunch.
Oh fuck, that's a lot.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that unit of measurement since
you were 10.
The metric system.
Anyways, as in the case of the ignorance of a person when he comes to have knowledge, his ignorance vanishes of itself, as the darkness vanishes when light appears, chapter 25. So also the deficiency vanishes in the perfection. So from that moment on, the form is not apparent, but it will vanish in the fusion of unity, for now their works lie scattered. In time, unity will perfect the spaces. It is within unity that each one will attain himself. Within knowledge, he will purify himself from multiplicity into unity, consuming matter within himself like fire, and darkness by light, death by life. If indeed these things have happened to each one of us, then we must see to it above all that the house will be holy and silent for the unity.
You know, this sounds a lot like attaining nirvana.
Yeah, it does sound a lot like attaining nirvana.
It's pretty zen.
Well, not just like, leaving, this stuff behind, but becoming, was that be nirvana? Is that becoming one, right? Because I know that nirvana, it's actually leaving the cycle of rebirth, of samsara, right?
Yeah.
So
it's complicated.
Okay, well, yeah.
Yeah,
but
it's complicated, and we can talk about it.
Right.
So, no, there are many systems, right?
Yeah.
But traditionally, something in Brahmanism would have something like this.
Yeah. So this sounds a lot like they're describing Brahman and then being one with Brahman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Buddhism, it's never exactly like that. It is somewhat in later Buddhism, more so, but in like the Pali Canon, like the Theravada Buddhism, right? They are much more practical about things. They don't really talk about metaphysics so much.
They're more like breathing and focus.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean this entire book so far has been about,
Metaphysics.
well, I mean kind of, yeah, right. It's been generally about how we got the whole thing about error before, right? How error has essentially made up a whole bunch of things that the father had clothed himself in, and he can like parade around as being part of this world when he isn't part of this world. There are quite a few theological notes that we have taken so far, and I know that we will only be getting more now, and I know that it gets kind of deep. It was already kind of deep before, at least in terms of a metaphysical framework.
Yeah. I mean, it is a generally more solid metaphysical framework than what you find in the Bible.
Yeah, that one is like, here are the bare bones. This is like really detailed.
Now, what's interesting is that a lot of Christian philosophers will say things that are somewhat in line with this kind of stuff.
Right, yeah.
Right. Except there'll be members of churches that have declared this kind of stuff heresies.
Right, yeah. So it's a very fine line. In a lot of cases, it's just mental gymnastics. In other cases, it's like, just a really, really nuanced opinion. And in some cases, just can't even be differentiated, honestly.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it is as in the case of some people who moved out of dwellings having jars that in spots were not good. They would break them, and the master of the house would not suffer loss. Rather, he is glad, because in place of the bad jars there are full ones which are made perfect. For such is the judge. Now we're in 26.
Yeah. So like right in the middle of this, we're in 26.
Yeah. The word judgment is broken in half.
Man.
Yeah. Which has come from above. It has passed judgment on everyone. It is a drawn sword with two edges cutting on either side. When the word appeared, the one that is within the heart of those who utter it, it is not a sound alone, but it became a body.
Oh, so
a great disturbance took place among the jars, because some had been emptied, others filled. That is, some had been supplied, others poured out. Some had been purified, others broken up.
This sounds like
Shepherd of
the
Hermas.
Shepherd of Hermas.
Yes, very much so.
This is actually like almost exactly like that, except it has jars. I forget was there a biblical book that there was a parable of jars, right? Or broken jars? I could swear there was.
Yes, there was.
I forget which book it was.
Elisha had the jars where he recreated the.
No, there's that.
The bread.
There's the actual miracle,
wasn't
but
it?
then there's
there was a miracle there, right?
Yeah, but then there was a parable that was used in, I think it was one of the earlier epistles, wasn't it? Or was it an Acts?
Was there an epistle with a jars story?
I think there was. So I'm just gonna look like parable of jars.
Hey, Chris.
Bible. Okay.
When's a door not a door?
Dora the Explorer.
When it's
Second
a jar.
Corinthians.
Oh, yeah.
Was 2 Corinthians?
2 Corinthians.
Or no, hold on. Parable of the empty jar is found in the. No, wait, hold on. That's not that one. Wait, so which one is this?
Look, there's a common.
There's a jar. There is a jars thing. I remember there being something about jars.
Look,
but we have this
in
treasure
Indian.
Yeah, 2
writing.
Corinthians.
Oh, 2 Corinthians.
Yeah.
I don't recall the jars.
2 Corinthians 4.
We'll pull up 2 Corinthians.
Okay, I will do. I can do that. Okay.
Yeah, tell me all about the jars. Because obviously they're talking about Jesus here. They refer to the word. They're talking about logos, right? And they
Yeah, the
specify-
treasure in clay jars. But so it's a whole section here. So, but we have this treasure in jars of clay to show that the surpassing power belongs to God and not to us. We are afflicted in every way, but not crushed, perplexed, but not driven to despair. It goes over a whole bunch of adjectives. Always carrying in the body the death of Jesus, so that the life of Jesus may also be manifested in our bodies. For we who live are always being given over to death for Jesus' sake, so that the life of Jesus may also may be manifested in our mortal flesh. So death is at work in us, but life in you.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that was like the start to the treasure in clay jars. That's what it was.
Mhm. But here the jars, the point is that the jars are people, and that some are saved and some are not.
Yeah. So in that way, it's way more like the shepherd of Hermas.
All the spaces were shaken and disturbed because they had no order or stability.
You good?
Did you lose all
Did
your
you
order
die?
and stability?
You need something? Have some water, perhaps? That's a good
That
idea.
was a weird gasp.
That was really weird. Are you having? Is it a heart thing?
No,
No.
that was.
Okay.
I've
No.
seen it before. I've even done it before. I don't know what triggers it, but it's a reflex.
I think it was like, like down from the sinuses.
Yeah.
I think I had like something coming in and I was like breathing.
Gotcha. Okay.
I don't know.
That is unfortunate, but yes.
like-
Don't
Right?
die right here on
Weird.
stream. I'd be like, oh fuck. Well,
Now you have to
the show just
read.
started, so I gotta.
Yeah. Anyways.
I'd be like, Chris, call somebody while I continue to read.
Yep.
Somebody get over here.
All the spaces were shaken and disturbed because they had no order, no stability. Error was upset, not knowing what to do. I guess that's good.
Yeah.
It was grieved in mourning, afflicting itself because it knew nothing. When knowledge drew near it, this is the downfall of error in all its emanations. Error is empty, having nothing inside. That is not a narrative. Are they saying that error
It's
like
not a narrative.
disappeared or died or what?
For knowledge which leads to the destruction of error and all her expressions approached. Error is empty. There is nothing within her. So I'm pretty sure that's like just the final statement kind of thing.
All right. Now, truth appeared. All its emanations knew it. They greeted the Father in truth with a perfect power that joins them with the Father.
Yeah, this is another section, by the way. So the appearance of truth and the emanations of the Father.
Is truth here separate from the Father? Or is it the same thing?
Oh no! So it says, yeah, truth appeared, and all its expressions recognized it. They greeted the Father in truth and power that is complete and joins them with the Father. So, oh man, this is where we get into like some higher Christology type shit.
Well, because we've talked before, or in the previous episode, we went over how their system is that there's the pleroma, and then there's like a greater pleroma, which is the Father, which contains the pleroma.
Contains everything. Yeah. So then so truth is just the different emanations of it. Yeah.
So here,
How it manifests in this reality.
and they join with the Father in truth because that is their recognition of the manifestation of the uber pleroma.
Essentially, yeah. Man, this is some.
Which is
Some
to
high
say universal statements, right?
Yeah.
For every X, Y, right? That would be an example of what they consider to be God, right?
Yeah, the whatever thing that they're referring to as being like the most representative of truth would be like their closest representation of God, and then all those things together would be God.
All right, let's run through this argument. I'll play the Christian.
Okay.
Okay, I'll be the Gnostic.
Okay, you'll play the Gnostic. Okay.
All right.
So wait, should I play the
Atheist.
I should play the atheist.
You
Okay,
be
okay.
an
I wasn't sure.
All right. So you believe in truth, right?
You know, I would say that there is probably a truth out there. Whether or not we know it is a different story, but there is some sort of fundamental truth. Yeah.
And
Think
when
so?
it comes to truth, there can be like a scale,
that'd be neat.
right? Something can be more or less true, or like
The closer it aligns to reality, yeah.
closer, and like if it perfectly aligns
If
with
it is
reality,
a perfect representation, sure, then I'd call it true.
yeah, then that would be true. And so, how are you an atheist?
Well, as you can see,
Boom,
because
atheism disproven.
yeah, boom, atheist is true. It's because I do not accept the proposition that there is a God. In fact, I
But
deny
you
it.
just did, because God is truth.
Oh, God is truth.
And
I see.
yeah, you see, God is
I
truth.
reject
It says
that proposition.
so. It says so in the gospel of truth.
Wow.
And God as truth, you've already admitted to exist. Absolutely.
Ah, I see. I see. So that was me to you saying that God exists.
Mhm.
Very well done,
Which means
Gnostic.
you are now a Gnostic.
Wow.
Yes, you see, I, the Gnostic, have won the debate.
Incredible. Not
The-
incredible.
The thing is,
Incredible.
I feel like, oh man, at some
I've
point,
had this argument with people.
I
It's happened.
I feel like this is. I think I already told you about this, and I think I may have already told chat this. But so there's this like cult on campus, and Eric, pen guy, wants me to like just have a talk with them about their wild beliefs, which he, as a creationist, thinks are wild. And, and I mean, they are kind of crazy from what he's described. They are kind of a cult. I think it's the same cult that Joe used to be part of.
Oh, that crazy cult?
Yeah.
We heard about that quite a bit from him, didn't we?
Right, yeah. So they are actually a cult. But
And
was
everyone knows Joe. Not a generic name at all.
no, okay, our friend Joe, who I think he's been on the channel before. I think he has been. Was he on the narcissistic nihilist thing we did
That was
forever ago?
not him.
That-
That was Kyle Richards.
No, we had him also.
Really?
We had both of them.
We
I
did
think.
both?
Yeah,
I don't remember doing both.
I could swear he did both. I'm pretty sure we did
I
both.
thought we theorized doing one.
No, we did both.
Yeah, that's-
Yeah, but
Pretty
either
sure you had Joe on the channel.
we had a
for-
podcast with him independently.
we did have another
okay?
podcast with them
That's
independently. That's true.
Got as much views as this did. Here we
Right,
go.
yeah. But I think he's been like on the channel in some capacity.
I don't
I
know.
think he's running a podcast now where he just like is a Democrat.
Yes, essentially.
Fascinating.
Yeah. So, but either way, Joe used to be part of this cult, and
I didn't know he was part of a cult though.
wait, you
His
didn't?
girlfriend-
No,
his
I've
girlfriend
I've
dragged
never
him in.
talked to him about the cult.
Wait, hold up.
Okay.
Hold up,
Tell
hold
me
up.
all about the cult because I had no
You
idea.
go ahead.
Wait, hold on. So, like you're telling me in the old MM days, you still didn't have an idea?
No, I just like I'd seen Joe around.
Yeah.
Like I'd talk to him here and there. You know, we'd chit chat.
Yeah.
Small talk.
Okay. No. Yeah. So he was.
He
We
was at
never
your
talked
wedding.
about a cult.
his girlfriend at the time was part of this cult. It was called Iglesia y Christe, and
Big, apparently.
yeah, it's pretty big. And like, you know, he was just leaving Christianity altogether, but you know, he still liked his girlfriend. But you know, before
Acts now.
you know, leaving it, obviously he was a part of it. He, you know, kind of, you know, he liked, you know, he loved his girlfriend, so he went to go see what all of her religious things were about. And he joined a cult.
They effectively indoctrinated him.
Yes. And then eventually he broke out of it, thankfully. But I mean, at some point, I think I should just have him on the channel to talk about it.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. That's something we haven't done. But yeah, he used to be part of a cult, and I want to go speak to this cult pretending to be a Marcionite. Now, how great would that be?
Okay.
That sounds pretty great to me. Okay, for reference, Marcionites are the ones that believe that there are two gods. There's a good God and an evil God.
Mm-hmm.
Marcion's pretty cool. So he's like, there's no way that the God of the New Testament is the same as the God of the Old Testament. So he was like, two gods.
Nah, you should just go full gospel of truth on them.
Oh, just like pull out the big guns.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. That's like, that's Star Trek. Not Star Trek. South Park. South Park episode where they all microwave their nuts to give
God,
themselves.
the
Oh,
giant
God,
bouncy nuts.
Yeah. That's so stupid.
That's like the big balls move.
Wow, biggest
That was
balls.
such a stupid episode.
Yep. And then
Still
they
on chapter
bounce
26,
around them.
guys. I don't know.
Yeah, we're on chapter 26.
Checking. 'cause
Okay,
this
they
game's
greeted the
free.
Father in truth with the perfect power that joins them with the Father. For as everyone who loves the truth, because the truth is the mouth, chapter 27,
Oh, geez.
Yep.
See, that's why I asked.
Now we're on 27.
of the Father, right? Truth is the mouth of the Father. His tongue is the Holy Spirit. He who is joined to the truth is joined to the Father's mouth.
So he
by
licks you
his
with the Holy
tongue.
Spirit?
Wait. He who is joined to the truth is joined to the Father's mouth by his tongue whenever he is to receive the Holy Spirit, since this is the manifestation of the Father and his revelation to his aeons. Right? So what they're saying is that the process of speech, which produces truth, is the means within this aeon.
It would be his, but because it's the Father speaking it, that's what makes it true.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is why the logos, right, the word is,
Right, why
is
that's the truth,
communicated
yeah.
as a word, and why Genesis is presented as a series of spoken commandments. In fact, God doesn't actually do.
You know what? This tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah, this tracks.
We should go through the
Well,
Bible.
he divided the waters, right? That was something he did.
Yeah,
That
we
he
should
didn't
we
speak.
should count the times that he actually does something, because when you think about most things that happen in the Bible, it's actually he sent someone to do that, right?
A lot of times it's he sent someone
Yeah,
or
like the plagues in Egypt, right? Like he sent
an angel.
an angel
Yeah.
to do that for him.
So the amount of times that he himself personally does something.
intervenes to do something. I know he writes with his finger.
Right. Yeah. That is true. Yeah.
That's one thing that he does. But otherwise, and I wouldn't count Genesis, right? Because he doesn't. Well, it does say that
God created,
creates, but
yeah.
he doesn't like do it. He just says it, right? And then it happens.
Well,
So it's not clear if that's
It
like
said he just says that, okay, so he's created them, right? And then he speaks about it.
no.
Yeah,
it
and then
says-
all the other stuff about creation, yes, he speaks it. Yeah.
Yeah, he speaks it. And when he speaks it, it's like, we don't know if that's like a power of his, or if that's like something about the state of the universe at that time that only he was privy to because he was the only one there,
Sure.
right? Like, it
Except
could
for
be,
all those parts where it says, like, let us make them in our image.
yeah. Well, I guess they were the only ones privy
Right,
to
yeah.
it because they were the only ones there.
Yeah.
Which is very progressive for
Oh, right. Yeah.
yeah. By the way, what do you think of the supplementary hypothesis?
I'm an advocate of the
You
supplementary
think that it's
hypothesis.
better than the documentary hypothesis?
Yes.
You think that the Elohist
Was not its own source, right?
is okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That I don't know, man. I think that the central concept of the documentary hypothesis is good.
Yeah.
Right.
The central concept is good.
Right. I think that every single other attempt at it is going in the wrong direction. What they should be doing is like setting it up as like Genesis, right? Genesis Prime, earliest fragments, right? Earliest known authorship that we could pontificate about, right? Then you say Genesis 2, Genesis 3, Genesis 4, Genesis 5.
Right. Yeah.
And you list everyone who might have been an editor or an additional author, right? And to a certain degree, that's what they do in the documentary hypothesis, but they stop way short of it because it really should be like Genesis person subtitle like 345.
Right. Well, the thing is,
right?
it gets really... Because in some cases, it's incredibly hard, if not impossible, to tell what order something came in. And even then, you don't know if it was part of something else or not. Mm-hmm. So the idea that there were separate documents beforehand that were later put together seems pretty likely, in a lot of cases at least. Or that something was written specifically to supplement something else. And there are arguments for all those types of redactions. But I really recommend reading Van Setter stuff. I have all of his, basically all of his books if you want to read them.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay. Were you, because you messaged me that, were you asking for yourself or because you were arguing with somebody?
I was arguing with somebody who was talking about the documentary hypothesis.
Okay.
And I was like, well, the actual state of affairs is probably that there's thousands of people who are involved.
Quite a bit, yeah.
Yeah. And even if it wasn't like thousands of people, like just over time, you gather so many people in the line of transmission that it's not calculable, really.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, I guess you could.
So was that person following the documentary hypothesis, or?
Yeah, like very strict documentary.
Really,
hypothesis.
Like the original one?
Yeah. And
Well House's original.
Yes,
that's ridiculous.
And I brought up they're a philosophy person, so they're like, "Oh, you need to read things in order of order to understand the
how
influences."
They got there. Yeah,
right. And that's the point that they got to, right? But no, I had brought up the supplementary hypothesis as an alternative to them.
There's also the fragmentary hypothesis, but that's I don't know any books on that one specifically. I think Chrissy could help you with that one.
Look, the books are very clearly based off of previous materials.
A good chunk of them, yeah.
The Torah, at least.
Yeah. So, and Van Setters argues that it's mostly the Deuteronomistic history that it's based on. Yeah. Which would make sense. Like he finds like a good amount of parallels in like Judges, for example.
Even Deuteronomy.
Yeah, that too.
Deuteronomistic history is based
on. So it'd probably be the earliest layer. But either way, yeah. So if you ever want to read stuff from Van Setters, like I have almost his entire fucking corpus.
Well, that's why I asked you, because you talk about him.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Right. All right. Anyways, the truth is the mouth of the Father. His tongue is the Holy Spirit.
He revealed his hidden self. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He manifested what was hidden of him. He explained it. For who contains, if not the Father alone? All that space is, or his emanations, they have known that they came forth from him like children who are from a grown man. That is not how birth works. They knew that they had not yet received form, nor yet received a name, each one of which the Father begets. Then when they receive form by his knowledge, though truly within him they do not know him, but the Father is perfect, knowing every space within him. If he wishes, he manifests whomever he wishes by giving him form and giving him a name. And he gives a name to him and brings it about that those who come into existence, who before they come into existence are ignorant of him who fashioned them. I do not say that they are nothing at all who have not yet come into existence, but they are in him who will wish that they come into existence when he wishes, like the time that is to come. Before all things appear, he knows what he will produce, But the fruit, which is not yet manifest, does not know anything.
We
nor
are
does
at
it do
chapter 8.
anything.
It's just we are at chapter 28 now, right?
Yeah, I was just in the sentence.
Yeah, it's a long sentence.
I want to
So
know where it cut. You know, it's important. to me.
in the middle of the word existence.
well, not in the middle of the word. I just wrote that in the margins. So it's I am not saying that those who have not yet come, who have not yet come to be are nothing. They are. So that now 28 starts.
Are we zoomed in?
Within one. No, I don't think so. I didn't zoom in any.
Man, that main camera sees the least movement.
Yeah, we don't even touch it aside from turning it on. Like, yeah, no, I don't think we're zoomed in at all.
I didn't check. I wouldn't change that. Lawrence would be like, Chris, you changed it.
I'd be like, hey, this looks slightly different.
Would. He's pretty attentive to.
At least the
So am I,
camera stuff,
but-
yeah. So no, we did not. I don't think we zoomed in at all. So so that's where it breaks into the next chapter. So it says they are next chapter within one who may wish that they come into being if at some future point he so wishes. So what it seems like
What
is
he's
the
saying-
analogy here is about sperm or eggs. They are within their parents. They exist, but not fully yet.
They
is
don't
the
have
thing.
any knowledge of
Right. They don't have any knowledge of anything else.
Anything.
But once they come into existence, at some point, maybe if the parents want them to come into existence, then they gain that full knowledge.
It seems roughly what is being said here. But it also implies that anyone like you or me who doesn't believe in God, right? That is because of God's willing choice. He is aware.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Right? He's aware why you do not believe in God, and could solve it. He's also aware of exactly what it would take to solve it.
He is aware of exactly what it would take to solve it.
What if he's aware that no matter what,
Right. In that case,
fuck
hand him
this guy.
hand
I'm
him
not
over to
gonna
their
show
sins.
him anything. I'm not gonna bother with that guy. He's infinitely skeptical. Forget it. I know that. I made him that way.
Like, I don't even think God. Do you think God could solve hard solipsism?
No.
Yeah.
Theoretically, he should be able
Because
to,
he'd
right?
say that hard solipsism is true and that he's the solipsist.
He is the solipsist. Yeah, there you go. I like that answer.
I'm gonna just stop believing in you now. Goodbye.
That's pretty good.
I mean, he functionally could do that, right? If he
right.
existed.
If that was
So,
sure.
yeah.
Well,
Anyways,
thank God
Lawrence, why
that
don't you
hasn't happened. Mm-hmm.
why don't you continue reading?
Yeah, I'll continue. I'm
Yeah.
gonna reread some of this, I think, just so I'm still in 28. On the one hand, he knows before anything appears what he will produce. On the other hand, the fruit that has not yet appeared knows nothing and does nothing. Thus, each realm in the Father comes from what is, but what has set itself up is from what is not. For whatever has no root has no fruit, and although thinking I have come into being, it will perish by itself. So whatever does not exist will never exist.
Now you see, Lawrence, atheist Lawrence.
Yes, yes.
Gnostic Ruben,
Yeah.
right?
And me,
hello, Gnostic
absurdist
Ruben.
nihilist Chris.
Okay, well, we don't have to think about him.
Do you believe in logic?
I think I have to.
And where does logic come from?
The logical absolutes.
And where do the logical absolutes come from?
They are, what's the phrase I'm looking for? Properly basic beliefs.
That which has no root has no fruit, Lawrence.
Shit. Okay, Socrates.
Yo, but what if fuzzy?
Also, I do. That's a good quote, I think, right? For whatever has no root has no fruit.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
We should stick that on a t-shirt.
we easily could.
We could.
Guys. Whatever, do it. I don't care. It's fine.
Let's see. And although thinking, I've come into being, it will perish by itself. So whatever does not exist will never exist. What then does he want such a one to think? It is this: I have come into being like shadows and phantoms of the night. When the light shines, the person knows the terror that had been experienced was nothing. So okay, so this is an annihilationist kind of thing. This is what it seems like. Because, like, okay, so if you come to being as like a shadow or a phantom, then the light showing up, especially if you're a shadow, would get rid of you.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess the person knows the terror that had been experienced. Okay, well, maybe it's nothing in comparison. Maybe it's not annihilationist. Maybe it's like, what's the word I'm looking for? Maybe it's like, oh, this fate is even worse than whatever they experienced before. I'm not sure. But either way, I'm not sure if that's meant to be like, nothing as in like not a thing, or nothing as in like.
No. What they're saying, I think it's pretty clear later on, but I read ahead a little bit. But
Cheater.
No, what they're saying, I think, is that the person who operates through like empiricism or wants evidence
Spoilers.
to logically think of things, that person,
I was wondering what the hell that noise was.
yeah, that's
I thought it was like through the headphones. So I mean, chat probably didn't hear it. Yeah. So it was his.
I didn't burn out the coil.
Oh,
Okay.
jeez.
Yeah, it was his vape.
Vape was going off. Oh,
Yeah.
crap.
Yeah,
It had like that burning noise, and I'm like, what is that noise? Like, is that coming in through the headphones?
I was hearing something earlier. Was that it?
Yeah,
I guess it must have been. Yeah.
Huh.
It
fizzy
was
noise.
just a little bit though. Not as much as I thought it would be. But no, what they're saying is that people who are like demanding of evidence, who have doubts, who are not like buying into the truth, right? They fail to recognize truth. They fail to recognize that which exists, and as a consequence, they fail to actually attain themselves, right? And they make this explicit earlier
Pretty big claim.
on in chapter 26. Truth appeared, all its emanations knew it. They greeted the Father in truth with a perfect power that joins them with the Father. For is everyone who loves
for
the
unity,
truth.
that's right.
Yeah, because the truth is blah, 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 blah. Who is joined to the truth is... so when they talk about it, they talk about how they come to know the truth. And by knowing the truth, they are aligned with the truth. And by being aligned with the truth, they have a greater connection with the Father, right? So someone who rejects the Father, right, who denies this, is denying truth, and they fail to come into existence at all, which is what they say slightly earlier. For this reason, he who did not exist at all will never come into existence, right?
Oh yeah. So the only people that can exist are ones that I guess have the potential to find the truth.
Yeah, they have to be able to find the truth in order to exist.
Right. Okay.
But if they are just in complete rejection, if someone exists who is in rejection of the truth, right, then that person fails to attain themselves, right?
Well, yeah.
And what
yeah.
it means by failing to attain themselves is failing to know themselves as themselves, right? Because they are emanations of the Father,
Right. Yeah.
which is to say they are truth, and so they're failing to be themselves.
They're failing to recognize themselves. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Wow.
Yeah.
If only this were true.
Right. Yeah. If only. Then a lot of this would make sense. Let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna continue on here. So we're on to the next section here. Still the same chapter, at least for a little bit. Thus they were ignorant of the Father, for they did not see him. Now we're at chapter 20.
Mm-hmm.
Since there had been terror and confusion and uncertainty and doubt and division, there were many illusions among them, and inane ignorance, as if they were fast asleep and found themselves a prey to nightmares. In these dreams, they are fleeing somewhere, or they cannot get away when chased, or they are in flight. Or they're in flight, or they themselves are beaten, or they are falling from on high, or they fly through the air with no wings.
Okay. That was completely unnecessary. So, Lawrence, this is like the equivalent of, okay, Lawrence is either to my right, or if you think about it,
Stage left.
really, really far to my
the
left.
Right, yeah.
Or he's on stage left, or really, really, really far stage right, or he's in a chair, or he's behind a table.
Yeah, saying a lot of
Or
things the same way.
the right-handed chiral side of Lawrence is facing the left-sided chiral face of Reuben.
Yeah, that tracks. I can see right there. Yeah.
That one's the most precise.
Let's see. But yeah,
Wait, are you port or starboard?
Oh, God.
Port is right, right?
I think isn't starboard right?
Is starboard
Guys,
right?
it's dependent on
You
where the
should know.
rudder is on the ship.
Is it? Okay.
It's going to really throw everyone off.
Uh
Starboard
Port is left, okay.
towards...
Port is left.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was pretty sure starboard was right, yeah.
So, from our perspective, you are on the starboard seat.
Yeah.
But from their perspective, you're
Port.
on the port seat.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Either way. I don't know why we had that analogy, but
Are you feeling
I'm gonna
oriented
continue-
yet?
We decided
You know
to
where
go
you
in
are?
all the directions.
I guess.
Right? Because
had
they did.
all different ways of saying the same thing.
Striking blows or getting blown
Fly
or blowing
through.
people.
Thanks.
Or it seems people are trying to kill them, though there is no one chasing them, or they are killing their neighbors and are covered with their blood. This continues until those experiencing all these dreams wake up. Those caught in the middle of all these confusing things see nothing because the dreams are nothing. So it is with those who cast off ignorance from themselves like sleep. They do not consider it to be anything, nor do they regard it. Now we're at chapter 30. Now,
So hold on. They're regarding dreams entirely differently here. Right? The biblical account of dreams is that they're literal messages from God. Right?
for the most, So for the most part, dreams, especially in the Old Testament, were like messages from God.
But
yeah.
even like Pharaoh's dreams are like things to be interpreted as messages from God, right? So like here, dreams are just like fantastical delusions that people have.
Yeah.
So it's a completely different idea of what they are, and a completely different idea of their role within the system. It also doesn't sound like these guys are lucid dreamers.
No, they don't know what they're doing when they're asleep.
they barely dream at all.
No.
It's very basic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They do not consider it to be anything, nor do they regard its features as real, but they put them aside like a dream in the night and understand the knowledge of the Father to be the dawn. This is how each person acts while in ignorance, as if asleep. And this is how a person comes to knowledge, as if awakened. Good for one who comes to himself and awakens, and blessed is one who has opened the eyes of the blind.
So, right, when they come to have knowledge, then error disappears and truth appears, and you realize yourself as a manifestation of the Father. So this is very much like enlightenment, nirvana stuff.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot like that. And but the thing is, the ignorance there, the whole like, interpreted as being dawn. It's like here is like the first glimpse of light. Like they have like a taste of the truth, but then they think they have it all. So it's Dunning-Kruger.
I figured out how one part works, so I get it all.
Yeah, those are things that you have said. Yes.
I mean, I said that now.
Wow. See,
quote me on it.
as you can
Get
see.
fucked.
I mean, I've heard that exact sentence from you every day on every subject.
Right,
for
yeah, right.
Everything. It's your catchphrase.
Yeah, you actually printed it on every T-shirt you own.
Strangle you guys.
Just like my catchphrase is, shucks.
No.
Like,
Shucksy
say-
doodles is
Definitely not.
your catchphrase.
Lawrence's
Shucksy
catchphrase
doodles.
That's your catchphrase.
used to be whoops.
Yeah, I say shucksy doodles
Yeah.
on the daily.
Right.
Yeah, very realistic.
I've heard you say that every single day that I've known you.
Yeah,
for
shucksy doodles.
15 years.
Wow.
Yep, shucksy doodles.
Yep.
Half your life. Anyway.
I'm not going to remember that after this
No,
show.
you won't. Continuing on here.
I might.
So the spirit came to this person in haste when the person awakened, having given its hand to the one lying prone on the ground. The spirit placed him firmly on his feet, for he had not yet risen. So we're into another section here, same chapter, but different section. This is the beloved Son reveals what is new. Knowledge of the Father and the revelation of his Son. The revelation of his Son gave them the means of knowing. For when they saw and heard him, he let them taste him and smell him and touch the beloved Son. Gross. He appeared I know what the analogy is. He appeared informing them of the Father, the illimitable, and he inspired them with what is in the thought, probably the thought of the Father, doing his will. So in this section, yes, taste. Taste was certainly in there because, okay, so it is his beloved Son would be what? The truth that is clothed in error, right? It has to be. And essentially and that would be his
because
Son.
there must be error in order for there to be any distinction within the Father.
Yeah.
Of
Yeah.
things that are not the Father.
Right. So in order to even get a taste of truth, Jesus had to be there, right? The Son had to be there to hand out a little bit.
But
of it.
Jesus is perfectly divine and perfectly human.
That is
He's tasty.
That is the current, yeah.
Yes. So he would be perfect truth clothed in perfect error.
Humanity. Which would be error, yeah.
Man.
But I know. The thing is, that part I actually do kind of get.
Like he's picking a blanket.
Yeah.
I was thinking of a hot dog, but
So yeah, two perfect things together as one.
Little tiny bagel thing.
Yeah, delicious.
And the little hot dog.
Yeah. So great way to put it. So although that's not kosher. So that is essentially the idea here. But yes,
they said they tasted them.
Saw, heard, and smelled. Yep, all the senses. So many received the light and turned to him. Now we're on chapter 31. So many received the light and turned to him, but material people were strangers to him and did not discern his appearance or recognize him, for he came in the likeness of flesh. Yeah, the likeness of flesh. Instead of actually coming in flesh, it's the likeness
because
of
for it to be flesh, he would have to actually be clothed in error, but here he's clothed in the likeness of error,
Right,
which is
yep.
based in flesh. Okay.
Yeah, and nothing blocked his way, for incorruptibility cannot be grasped. Moreover, while saying new things and speaking about what is in the Father's heart, he produced the faultless word. Light spoke through his mouth, and his voice brought forth life. That's interesting. His voice brought forth life. That's I'm gonna have to note that for later because there is an interesting thing about the inspired text translation that might mean life-giving instead. Well,
a lot of early imagery for Jesus does depict him as like a necromancer.
Well, yeah, that is true.
And not just in the Lazarus situation.
Yeah, no, like he
either.
mass raises the dead.
Right, yeah, there was the healing of the widow's son.
And
too.
like paintings of him will have him with like magic wands.
Even
and
exorcism is
Magic
pretty
wands. I don't remember those paintings.
necromantic.
Yeah, back in the Hermes Trismegistus video that I did, there's a couple of pictures in that video that you edited in.
Did I?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Which
was a long time ago.
Would show the wands. Yep.
Okay, I'll have to go back and watch our own video.
Yep. It's very old.
It is. So, yeah, light spoke through his mouth, and his voice brought forth life. He gave them thought and understanding and mercy and salvation and the spirit of strength from his father's infinity and sweetness. He made punishments and afflictions cease, for they caused those in need of mercy to stray from him in error and bondage. He destroyed them.
It might have been the Christian demonology video.
Okay, might have been that one.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
That was also forever ago.
Yeah, forever.
They were around the same time, weren't they?
They were around the same time.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. He destroyed them with might and confounded them with knowledge. And then this next section is a little like, it's more like a hymn or a poem here. He became a way for those who strayed, knowledge for those who were ignorant, discovery for those who sought, support for those who tremble, purity for those who were defiled.
Right. So his actual form is dependent on the, I guess, qualities of those who are looking at him, right? More or less is what they're saying.
Well, I mean, I don't know if this is supposed to be
His form and his function, or his function only and not his form.
Well, I think I think the function. Yeah, the function and the form would be the same. He would be like revealing these great truths, and he would be essentially changing the like it says here, right? He's changing afflictions too. Yeah, he made punishments and afflictions cease. So he destroyed them with might and confounded them with knowledge. And then the rest of it's not really like it's not really a subjective kind of thing. I think he's just like, this is the light bearer. He's the standard bearer, and everyone will acknowledge him this way. Like, and you're just gonna go in that direction. Whatever direction Jesus is in, you're just gonna go that direction.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it's meant to be a subjective kind of thing.
I wonder how they contend with reality.
With reality, that's a good question. We should ask all the Gnostics we know.
Oh,
Eric Wander, thank you for the one gifted membership. By the way,
there you go, Lady Moonwave.
we are so 3 of the badges are done.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Yes.
So we're going to be getting real badge icons?
Real badges. Yes. It's not just going to be those automated stars. Well, I mean, they're fine, but they got to be a little special. So we have those being made. I can show you what what we have so far. I didn't add them yet. But at some point, yeah, if you're a member, you have that little badge. But here are, well, the screenshot's bad quality, but yeah, here you go. So those would be the first 3.
And it's like a calf.
Yeah.
That becomes increasingly calf-like.
Yeah.
And
then like a bull.
And then it'll like turn gold.
Yep. It's going to turn silver and then gold.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Dope.
Yeah, or just gold, and then like it becomes like an overlord or something. I forget which one she decided on, but either way, you guys are getting
there
badges.
needs to be a Metatron one.
A Metatron
at
one
the very end. Metatron bull.
How are we gonna? What's that gonna look like?
So you take the shape.
Is it gonna be just fire? A bull made of fire?
So you take the shape of the bull.
Yeah.
And you take a bunch of pictures of eyeballs, and you put them in that shape, and then you run a filter over it that makes it look like there's fire. So it's just fire and eyeballs in the shape of the bull.
Wow.
And that's the Metatron one.
I guess that would be that would be something.
Right. You're right. Yep, that's Metatron Bull.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, angels were wild in those Enochian books, huh?
Yeah. Why don't I start reading?
Okay.
Because we're on 32.
Yeah, we're just getting into 32. After, like, there's one sentence and then it's 32.
Yeah.
Whatever.
He is the shepherd who left behind the 99 sheep which were not lost. He went searching for the one which had gone astray. He rejoiced when he found it, for 99 is a number that is in the left hand which holds it. But when the one is found, the entire number passes to the right hand.
So, about completeness.
Right, because
Matthew. Matthew and Luke.
Yeah, in the end time, like all of the things about Revelation, right? When they talk about the day of Yahweh and the Old Testament, they say that everyone will be in perfect accordance.
Yep.
Right?
Oh, yeah. Parable of the lost sheep.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, the people who are saved don't really matter. Forget about them. You need everyone on board in order to bring about the day of judgment.
Yeah.
So, which also implies that no one will be judged.
Wow, you're right.
Well, I think it's supposed to be everyone of a certain community, right?
Oh,
Right.
What do you
Isn't
mean?
it?
A certain community, Lawrence.
It's just, I don't fucking know. Whoever they were talking about at the time could have been Jews. Could have been, would have probably been some early group.
Mm-hmm. 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 Sure. Anyways, the entire, as that which lacks the one, that is the entire right hand, draws what was deficient and takes it from the left hand side and brings it to the right, so too the number becomes 100. It is the sign of the one who is in their sound. It is the Father. Even on the Sabbath he labored for the sheep which he found fallen into the pit. He gave life to the sheep, having brought it up from the pit, in order that you might know interiorly, you, the sons of interior knowledge, what is the Sabbath, on which it is not fitting for salvation to be idle, in order that you may speak from the day from above, which has no night, and from the light which does not sink, because it is perfect. Say then, from the heart that you are the perfect day, and in you dwells the light that does not fail. Speak of the truth with those who search for it, and of knowledge to those who have committed sin in their error.
So, this idea about where was it? Right. Okay. So I think your translation put it as we are sons of the inner knowledge. I think that's how your translation put it.
Sons of interior knowledge.
Yes. Understand the inner meaning, for you are children of inner meaning. Mm-hmm. So this would be the that deeper meaning that they're talking about there. At first, I was like, is this supposed to be a jab? Because like, if you think about it, like the children are within you first, right? And they would only know like what was in them intrinsically before coming out into the truth. So like part of me was like, is that supposed to be a jab at not knowing everything?
Man, what verse was it that I said to Eric?
Oh, it was something about like
About children or something.
you must think like a child or something like that. Or
Yeah, it was something. And I got him to admit so much crazy shit.
that's what I'm fucking talking about. Like I've brought this up multiple times, and you're like, I don't remember. So now that you remember something, what do you remember?
What I remember is that I didn't quite ever get him close to becoming an anarchist, but I got him to admit all of the philosophical principles that would be necessary in order to be an anarchist.
Ruben, why are you?
Why are you?
Why are you?
Yeah, man.
Look, he's a smart guy.
Yeah.
He'll figure it out.
Okay. You sure?
Listen, if he actually understood evolution, he'd probably believe it. So
You can teach him.
Yeah, I could. But he always like ends up like going with like, oh, okay, well, I get that perspective, I get that outlook, but then it's always like
Who are you even talking about?
pen guy.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but then it always comes down to like the Bible for him.
Mhm.
Like that's his end all be all.
Well, the Bible
And
teaches evolution here. Right?
Oh, shut up, Chris. It does not.
You just gotta convert him to Catholicism.
So what I would have to do is, first of all, I would have to convince him that evolution's in the Bible, and I'm not going to lie to Eric. So
You'd have to like really, really reorder how you see things in the Bible to get it to sound like it even exists. It's not going to work. Like that's a hard devil's advocate sell.
yeah, you're telling me. So
Which one is Ruben?
That's
Ruben's
hilarious.
the one with headphones on.
Mm-hmm. Yep. No, I've gotten him to talk about all sorts of crazy stuff over time. Look, if someone buys into the Bible, then you can get them to admit just about anything.
Yeah, some things. Yeah.
yeah. But the thing is, like, even then, there are parts that he even acknowledges are kind of messed up, and he
Like
can't.
the child sex slavery and
Oh yeah. Jeez.
the Torah.
Oh, well, sure. There's also, I remember I brought up the flood, and there was someone else there with us, a different guy who is much more of like the early YouTube Christian kind of days, where he's like, really bad apologetics, very aggressive about everything, doesn't really care what anyone else has to say. Like one of those types of people, a child. So he's like 19, but basically, yeah, a child. So
Children.
yeah. So I was talking about like, evils that got like things that we would call evil that God has done. And I mentioned the flood and how that's a genocide. And he's like, but they were evil. And I'm like, you understand you're literally defending genocide, yes? Like you're defending slaughtering everybody except for the small, except for 8 people. And even Eric, like he wasn't like fully agreeing with this other dude, but he was like, he had this like look like, yeah, it is kind of killing everybody. Like he acknowledges that like, yeah, it is murder.
That's
it is
that's
genocide.
Still genocide. Yeah.
Yeah.
The problem is that with believers, they believe. Like Eric is smart enough to know that you shouldn't defend genocide.
Right. Exactly.
Right. But he believes that God is the ultimate moral authority.
Right.
So for God to have chosen to do it, it must have been the correct choice.
Right. Yeah. Even though he's like, I'm not going to defend genocide, but yeah.
Presumably the alternative was worse. The alternative of not committing genocide in this case
somehow was worse.
Must have been worse. God knows how.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's what he essentially relies on, though.
Yeah.
It's like, you just got to take it on faith. Like it would have been worse. I don't know what it would have been. I can't think of what it would have been, but it was probably worse. That's
like
essentially
everybody speaking one language.
right. Yeah. No. Yeah. So a lot of interesting conversations to be had there. Which, since we're closing up with the Bible readings at some point soon.
Oh, we should get him on.
I'm gonna try to get him on.
every episode of Revelation.
I don't know about every
I
episode.
think it would be epic.
I feel like we wouldn't finish Revelation.
Do you have any idea how epic it would be to go verse by verse with him through Revelation with all these commentaries?
It'd be pretty wild, man. It'd turn into. I mean, I don't know. He's not a very argumentative kind of person.
No,
so it would be fun.
I could make him an argumentative.
Just don't.
You just have to know what to
Would you
say to
stop?
him.
Just stop being a dick.
Yeah, right? Jeez.
It's extremely entertaining.
I know it's entertaining.
He
Just stop.
finds it entertaining too.
Does he?
It's mutually beneficial.
Yeah, no, it's kind of like when Ruben and I have this really passionate argument, and my dad's like, "Are you guys like even friends after this anymore?" He asked me later, and I was like, "Dad, we watched a bunch of shows and talked about a bunch of other shit after that. That was just a fun, passionate argument about stuff for devil's advocate's sake." Like,
It's not even usually devil's advocate's sake. It's usually
it was
someone
about-
fucks something up.
Just you literal murderer.
Yep, that's me. I'm a literal murderer. Hello.
please don't
Yep.
accuse
See, he admitted it.
me. Wow.
That's admissible in court.
Yep. That's it. You got me.
Bye, Lawrence.
Yep.
Shiva was kind of a dick. Yeah, Shiva was kind of a dick.
Yeah, that's true.
But to be fair, he has to be. It's his karma.
Right. Yeah, true.
And our dharma here is that we have to read this book.
Yep.
Okay, for this chapter 33, make firm the foot of those who have stumbled and stretch out your hand to those who are ill. Feed those who are hungry and give repose to those who are weary, and raise up those who wish to rise, and awaken those who sleep. For you are the understanding that is drawn forth. If strength acts thus, it becomes even stronger. Be concerned with yourselves. Do not be concerned with other things which you have rejected from yourselves. Do not return to what you have vomited to eat it. Do not be moths. Do not be worms, for you already cast it off. Do not be a dwelling place for the devil, for you have already destroyed him.
So the translations are a little bit different. It's do not be moth eaten. Do not be worm eaten, for you have already gotten rid of that. Mm-hmm. So a little bit different.
Do not strengthen those who are obstacles to you who are collapsing, as though you were a support for them. For the lawless one is someone to treat ill, rather than the just one. For the former does his work as a lawless person. The latter as a righteous person does his work among others. So you do the will of the Father, for you are from him. For the Father is sweet baby Jesus. For the Father is sweet, and in his will is what is good. He has taken cognizance of the things that are yours, that you might find rest in them. Also, it said that they tasted him earlier, so
Yeah.
True.
right.
Yeah. Very
So,
sweet.
guaranteed.
The Father is definitely sweet. Yes.
For by the fruits does one take cognizance.
They
of things that
love
are
their
yours.
sweet daddy.
Mhm. We're in
Sugar daddy much?
Oh, sugar daddy. Yes. Very good. Very good.
chapter 34. Because the children of the Father are his fragrance, for they are from the grace of his countenance. For this reason, the Father
I think
loves...
we're in the next.
That's what I said.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
Yes.
you said 34.
I'm fucking deaf. All right.
Yeah, you should get hearing aids.
What?
Yeah, you
The-
should get two people who stand one to your left and one to your right, each who communicate to you what's happening.
Yes.
Hearing aids.
Yes.
The good thing about hearing aids is that you can turn them off. So
They're asexual.
if you don't want to
Very
listen to something, all you have to do is be like, nah.
Do anything
True,
sexual and they will be turned off.
They will be turned off.
Okay.
Oh my god! I stumbled upon the worst subreddit.
Oh no.
It was anti-sex,
What?
and I'm like, this is the dumbest thing.
Okay.
That's worse than oh god. No. He stopped the broadcast apparently.
It's
No more
really
reading.
bad. It's really bad.
Yeah.
It's like anything that's sex related is like. So it's fine if like someone doesn't like sex themselves, like personally, that's
A
fine.
subreddit for the discussion of anti-sexuality slash anti-sexualism.
Yeah.
Okay.
So just not being sexual at all.
Gotcha.
Like, listen, if it's not for you, okay, fine. But like, there are like almost everyone that I've seen on that sub is like really, really judgmental about anyone who does have sex.
You mean like an incel?
Yeah, exactly. Like, if right, but even then, no, incels have their own thing, and it's way somehow more toxic than this.
Yeah,
Okay.
maybe.
If pornography is harmful for kids, why do some adults watch it?
It's the dumbest fucking
Thought
thing.
about this in a moment of
The dumbest
post-nut
fucking
clarity. Sexuals will sometimes respond with, because kids' brains are still developing. But isn't that admitting that pornography is inherently harmful? Exactly. It's harmful to anyone who consumes it. It's like an adult telling a kid not to touch a hot stove and then touching it themselves and getting burned. The adult may handle it better, but it harms anyone who touches it, regardless
harmful.
of age. I can't think of anything
No, Dougie, not
that
amen. Ruben.
is harmful in youth
This is wrong.
and stops
This is actively wrong.
being harmful in adulthood.
Okay, if you're an adult, you know how to properly use a fucking stove.
Like, here's the thing. Like, I'm pretty asexual. But people can have all the sex they fucking want. I
What do
don't
they call
care.
it when you don't think about sex 99.9% of the time, but then you're really horny 1% of the time.
Being a eunuch.
Be a eunuch.
Oh wow.
That doesn't. That seems fairly normal. I don't know. Yeah, like you're horny sometimes, and other times you're not.
Yeah, I think that's just normal.
Yeah, but the whole thing is like, I don't care. Like, people can have all the sex they want. Like, have a great time. Do whatever crazy shit you want to do.
No, why are you encouraging the sexuals?
Oh my god, the sexuals. You're married. Get over it.
yeah.
oh yeah, I forgot.
They're
Yeah, the sexuals.
so they're not like antinatalists.
No, they're
They're
antisexual.
antisexual.
Yeah,
And they refer to people who
as
aren't.
antisexuals.
Anti-
As
as
sexuals.
sexuals.
Yeah, Tsunami's answer is great. That's a good one.
It's like how vegans have the term carnist. It's like their slur for non-vegans.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, it's like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways.
God, communities are weird. They do this shit all the time. Antinatalist is where you shouldn't. Is the idea that no one should have kids. That's antinatalism.
Yeah, the antinatalists
It's mortality and then
that-
whatever.
some suffering is inevitable in every life. Therefore, to produce life that otherwise would not be produced is to produce suffering, which otherwise would not be produced. Therefore, to produce life is to produce unnecessary suffering.
Right. Yeah.
Okay,
and-
without life, there is no suffering. Let's go get that
True.
AI
True.
that really wants to kill everybody.
What
That
is
guy
that
knows
guy?
what's up. Was
Yeah.
it Skynet or something?
like, antinatalists are like they want the species to end.
Yeah, I guess.
I get it.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Whoa.
I get it.
It's a bit much. I
don't-
happen to be part of that species, so, no
I don't
thanks.
fully disagree with that. So I get it. But either way, yeah. Those were not his opinions that he read out before about the sexuals.
No, they were not.
No, that was,
Look,
yeah.
I've got nothing against sexuals. They're perfectly fine people. They're not dirty. They're not disgusting people. They don't deserve the death penalty.
Well, the thing is, some of them are pretty dirty, but that's kind of why we like them.
Oh.
Well, that's hot.
Anyways,
What I was saying, for this reason, the Father loves his fragrance and manifests it in every place.
Oh, gosh.
hey, you know what? He smells very nice too. So that was one of the scents, right?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And if it mixes with matter, he gives his fragrance to the light, and in his repose he causes it to surpass every form and every sound. For it is not the ears that smell the fragrance, but it is the breath that has the sense of the smell and attracts the fragrance to itself, and it is submerged in the fragrance of the Father, so that he thus shelters it and takes it to the place where it comes where it came from the first fragrance, which is grown cold. It is something in a psychic form.
Huh?
What?
Hold up. Okay. A psychic form. So
It is something in a psychic form, being like cold water which has frozen, and then parentheses, question mark, end parentheses.
Oh, okay, here we go. So, yeah, for it is not ears that smell the fragrance, but it is the spirit that possesses the sense of smell, draws the fragrance to itself, and immerses itself in the Father's fragrance. Thus,
They're trying to
hold on. Thus, it cares for it and takes it to where it came from, the original fragrance, which has grown cold in psychical form. It is like cold water that has sunk into soft soil. Where is it? So it looks like
what they're trying to
the
do
author is
here
employing
is
a pun in Greek by comparing psuke, so soul, and psukos, cold.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, like what they're saying here
Wait,
is
Bad
that
pun.
the
Wait, what?
presence of God, right? The presence of the Father
Yeah.
is like a fragrance, right? In that it's a transcendent kind of effervescent thing that flows everywhere without being like an obvious,
Right,
like
yeah.
you can see and interact with it type thing. And they believe that fragrance is like a cognition, like that it's a part of the soul where it's not like a sensation like sight or touch, but they're wrong. Fragrance is a chemical sensation.
Yeah. It's not like they fully understood all that stuff.
We don't either, but we have a much better
We understand
idea.
it better than that.
Way better.
Right. So when they bring this into it, it's kind of obscure and odd to think of it this way when that's so obviously not the case. But
Yeah, all right.
which is on earth that is not solid, of those which who see it think it is earth, afterwards it dissolves again. So it's like fragrance, it's like it dissipates.
Yeah.
It gives the impression that there are flowers there, but there are not flowers there, right? If a breath draws it, it gets hot. The fragrances, therefore, that are cold are from the division. For this reason, faith came. It dissolved the division, and it brought the warm pleroma of love, in order that the cold should not come again, but that there should be the unity of perfect thought. And that is where the
there's
gospel
still
of truth ends in Lost
This
Scriptures.
right in that verse. So in Ehrman's, it ends there, but there is another section in the Nag Hammadi scriptures that does continue on through chapter 43. So.
Right. And we will continue that next time. This time, so we got some interesting stuff. This, honestly, the Gospel of Truth is probably the most like philosophically dense.
Yeah, the most metaphysically dense one, definitely. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's an interesting book.
Yeah,
Its metaphors are
thought-provoking,
kind of out of date.
Yeah, you're telling me.
Yeah.
but it's mostly like stuff I've thought about already.
It's weird to think how, like, with the example of this fragrance metaphor, right? Like,
We really
because
didn't-
of the
yeah.
way that we in modern times think about scent as a chemical sense, right? That is obscure to us. But, like, the purpose of the passage was to explain to people and make, like, these ideas more obvious to them. So obviously they must have had some kind of an audience that had a different understanding of what scent was.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've not heard of that before. I don't think I've ever heard that brought up.
As
no,
Yeah.
but it's almost like, we have this idea for extra perception. right? With vision, like people can see things beyond what's there or something.
Right. It's definitely like
they
an
could- this is
ESP
different.
type thing.
Yeah, it's in that
They
realm.
even translate it as psychic.
Yeah, they did.
and the thing is that was also supposed to be a pun, but
Oh,
the
those damn psychic puns.
but the note here where it says that the spirit is the thing that smells it.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they associate the spirit with the breath, and they don't know about the chemical receptors in mucous membranes. All they know is that they breathe in through their nose.
Yeah, then they have
And-
this scent.
Yeah, they have this.
Maybe they didn't even recognize it as being in the nose.
Maybe not. But it's weird because it's pretty immediate, right? Like, right?
Right, like for us, right? Because we have the knowledge too, but maybe they
You even see animals doing.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, like that would be their way to do it, right? But I guess I don't know, the spirit, like maybe maybe the spirit's hands are going through the nostrils. But
Would there be an association with the mouth and the nose with the spirit? Right? Because they pull.
they have a
out
whole thing, yeah,
in
where
this,
he's talking
they-
about not only getting
and the tongue too.
yeah.
The tongue is the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
The tongue of the Father.
Yeah,
Because-
so maybe.
Yeah. So interesting book. So far, we'll definitely get into more next time.
Definitely.
Hey everyone,
What?
go to Patreon.
Hey, make sure you drop that like. Like, seriously, drop the like and subscribe. And you know what else? We have shirts on our Teespring page. So if you click the link that has just been pinned,
Word.
you can, the word, yeah, there you go. The word is bird. And you can buy a shirt, or you can go on our Patreon and become a patron, which, by the way, we'll be doing the t-shirt giveaway.
Next week.
No.
No?
Not next week. This
not?
week.
Oh, I mean this week.
Yeah, in 2 days.
I mean this coming Sunday.
Yeah, this Sunday.
I mean next week. Sorry.
Yes.
We're doing a t-shirt giveaway. So if you become a patron before that time, you could be entered into that t-shirt giveaway.
And
Look at-
hey, if you just want to buy a shirt, go on to Teespring, buy yourself a shirt.
Amazon wish lists.
Amazon wish list.
Lots of books on that.
Facebook, Twitter, Discord, you name it.
Seriously. What's it called? Exclamation point Discord in chat.
That's what it's called.
Yes.
Anyways,
The command.
with that being said, we will see
See you on
Sunday.
Sunday, because that's the next time.